Coming up at 10, Middays with Marks. Now more of Kincaid and Sal Tunis.
97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
I just got a JC Tunis on YouTube chat.
Oh, no.
What'd I say? What'd I say that got JC?
What?
How'd I get JC'd? What'd I say?
What happened? You didn't say JC.
No,
I
he's
didn't
saying
say
that someone
that.
said, yeah.
Somebody said JC Tunis. Our man, the Fit Dad, chimes in. I don't know what I said.
Did you have a take that warranted that?
No,
What did
you
We were just going to break. So, Amy Fadool's here. Good morning,
Good
Amy.
morning, everyone.
How are you? Amy, we're going to talk about the Brendan Sorsby thing coming up a little bit. Maybe that was misunderstood because, no, I'm not trying to draft a quarterback to replace Jalen Hurts.
Right.
But, man, is this a huge conversation in the world of sports. Can't wait to get your thoughts on it. But let's start with Mike Gansey, the new president of basketball operations for the Philadelphia 76ers. We have some clips that we'll play because he obviously spoke about the big questions that were being asked of him, which is about the big man and the big contracts, because you also have Paul George.
Here we go.
So we know this entire summer and fall what that's going to be about, early fall. But what did you make of Mike Gansey, your first takeaways with him?
Yeah, I mean, very polished, very focused. I thought he was a guy that knew the situation he was walking into and didn't have... I feel like sometimes, and maybe not in that level of role, but sometimes you have these press conferences and they seem to be like, I'm not prepared for the answers. And I mean that and to say that he was obviously very prepared, but he knows that he's got a tall task ahead of him. It was very GM speak, which I appreciate. Like, I know you're going to have that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's day one. I don't think he's going to have all the answers.
He loves the city. He loves the organization.
Yeah.
His son has a Tyrese Maxey jersey.
The guy is literally a Cleveland guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
he didn't hide that, which I do love. Like, he was very honest.
Tell us who you are.
He's like, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan.
He's
Tell us who you are.
He's born and raised in Cleveland.
Correct.
And he married someone from Cleveland, and his entire family has lived in Cleveland, and he is from Cleveland. He's lived there in Cleveland. So I appreciated that. Like, I like the transparency on certain things. I don't mind that he didn't have every single answer on day one. I know that was, I just saw on social media and some of my replies, and people are like, well, what's he going to do? I'm like, it's okay. First of all, if you're in a position to bargain, you don't want to lay all your chips out there. You want to let it be known. But it was day one. I think that's a conversation to have in a couple of weeks. I thought it was really interesting that he recognized, and I talked to him after the media scrums, he recognized the importance of having somebody from Philadelphia like on your staff, on your side.
Yeah.
He was very impressed with Jameer when he was going through the process. He specifically requested that, is there a way that we can keep this guy around? What is his role? What can I do with him?
And by the way, I'm happy about that. I did not want him to get this job. Jameer Nelson, the president of basketball operations.
And I don't know that Jameer wanted this.
But he seems like a rising star.
With Jameer, and talking with him afterwards, it was interesting because he said he never envisioned being a front office guy. He always envisioned being a coach.
Yeah.
So this whole thing that this journey he's been on for the last 5+ years is all new to him. And he feel like he's learning every day. But I thought it was interesting or very telling that, because that was something I think I talked with you guys about, right after Morey was fired, that what I would look for is a younger executive who was with a winning franchise that knew the East and that knew Philadelphia. I always thought those were really important things. And Bob Myers said that was something really important. I don't think that that's, earth shattering to know if you're working in Philadelphia, you need to know Philadelphia. And I mean that as you can go work in Oklahoma City and you could be the best basketball guy ever. I don't care if you know anything about Oklahoma City.
Right.
I don't think that the Oklahoma City people care. Philadelphia, it matters. You need to know how this town works. And I think that's really important. I thought it was really telling that he said that was basically a sticking point. Like, I need to have this guy. What can we do with him? How can we get him here? How can we keep him here? And so I thought that was interesting. And yeah, I mean, he my favorite, I was telling the guys in back like Austin, I was telling them my favorite non-answer was about James Harden. Sealski asked the question. I'm not sure why.
And look, I credit Mike for asking it. I think the question is, wait, the guy that just traded for James Harden again,
it was kind
is
of
the
like
new guy here?
Trying to find out what was your philosophy behind it. And then if you could extrapolate, that's just my guess, extrapolate something about your philosophy on how you're going to operate here.
Right. That's
probably the question. But it was great. It was someone that was like, listen, we needed some help. That gentleman was offered. He helped us. and he plays basketball. It was, and then I think he just ended it with, okay, or that's it, or something like that. And I was like, that's perfect.
They did get to the conference finals.
I wanted you
Listen, he got them better than they had done before.
better than they did before. We didn't like that move when it was made. And I said to you, why? And then Andrew explained it to me. I'm like, man, you do. We think Cleveland was better before that move.
I said from a Sixer standpoint. From a Sixer standpoint, it would have slowed down the pace of play, which would have benefited
I think
the
it
Sixers.
could have benefited them this year.
Whereas the Mitchell Garland was go, go, go. And with Joel Embiid, you can't really do that.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I didn't mind the fit. I understood why Cleveland did it. They needed points. They needed buckets. Mm-hmm. Some of their guys had been banged up. They needed a guy that can guarantee and get them a 20 every night. James Harden can do that.
And facilitate as long as he doesn't turn the ball over 7 times.
I don't need the guy to have all the answers.
Yeah.
But honestly, I left there yesterday knowing nothing more about what his plan is or what his ambitions are than I knew going in.
Really?
Nah, I felt like it was very AI. Like it was not Allen Iverson. I thought it was very generic. And when I heard twice build around the 4, my body sagged.
Yeah,
I went.
The question was asked in a way that had to be the answer. Because
are you going to trade Joel Embiid?
So yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm sitting there in the press conference. We carried it live. Shout out NBC Sports Philadelphia. And it was the first question on it was basically like, what do you do with these contracts? And as a general manager, president of basketball operations, whatever the title is for the role, you have to be like, all right, well, here's who I have in my contract. This is who I have. I can't talk about anything else other than that. That was another thing. Like I saw people like, why can't he name names? I'm like, that is not how this
That's
works.
not how it works.
You can't. We remembered when Joel Embiid was naming PJ Tucker. Like, this is not a good idea. You can't name names when guys are under contract. So I understood some parts of it, but I think the answer was, because I asked him that, later too, like about that, and he was just like, we have these 4 guys under contract. This is what we're operating with. It doesn't mean that they're going to remain under contract. And I think that was, I don't want to infer that. That's obviously me projecting, thinking like, because my question was, how do you build around this team when you have 4 major contracts or 3 major contracts? You have 3 major contracts. You have 3 max guys. And he was like, well, you have to, win on the margins. You have all this other stuff. But he's never going to come right out and say, well, you have to trade one of them, Amy. That's what you have to do. So I think that his philosophy, maybe I hear you, John, didn't come through because he's probably still waiting, WADING, wading through these waters of, instead of like waiting,
Sure.
Of trying to figure out, what the heck am I going to do? Like, I don't know. He was asked it basically 3 different times in 3 different ways.
So
and you're right. He did say like, oh, I have these 4. Like he does. That
Let's
is
play
a fact.
one of the clips, and then I want to get your read on it because me, John, and Connor all talked this morning about, all right, what was the read that you got? Is it, are they running it back? Are they going to try to move one of the guys? This was Mike Gansey with the press conference. He did a great interview with Middays with Marks yesterday. But this was from the press conference where he was talking about maximizing the 4.
I don't look at it as a timeline. I just look at like we have those 4 and we got to maximize those 4. Obviously VJ and Tyrese are younger, but Paul and Joel can still play at a high level. I mean, we were 24 and 14 when Joel played, and obviously in the playoffs coming back from Boston, like we got to rely on those 4 and obviously keep them on the floor and then just build around them.
So, did you have a feel as the press conference was going on? After the press conference ended, our poll of the day brought to us by Dr. Avidan Appel, Iron Mountain Men's Health, where the poll is strong for 4 hours every single morning. We were talking about the direction of the Sixers and whether or not you feel better, worse, or if they're stuck. And still, sorry, Connor, the majority are saying they're stuck. That's what I voted, but if I could have added, it would have said they're stuck, ... for now.
Right.
I think he would try to trade Embiid if he could. That's what my takeaway was.
Did it sound that way?
I think that I don't know Embiid per se. I don't think that I got an overarching.
Fine, Embiid, George, one of those 2 guys.
I did get an overarching sense of like, we need to really work on this roster.
Yes.
And to do that, we might have to make decisions. I don't know that I took away from it. It's hard because you go in with your own bias. You go in with your own thoughts and thinking like, I want him to say this, so
And I
can,
did.
so I can justify whatever I'm thinking, which is completely normal. Everybody has how you enter conversations with other humans, much less a guy that you actually want answers from as a fan base and as media. So you go in there thinking, I need to hear this, and if I don't feel good. I have to kind of step back and I look at the whole, because you walk away from it and you feel one thing, and then you look at the transcript. You just read it as if it's the yellow pages or whatever. For those of people who don't know what that is, it's a book that you used to look up businesses in.
Yes.
And so I try to look at it in that way and like, all right, just a regular old person reading this. Do I take anything away from it? And I did take away that he knows that there's not a lot of wiggle room, because he did mention like certain players, you got to find guys who are like a $4 million guy and see if he can turn into somebody. That lets me know that he is fully aware that he's going to have to move off one of these if he wants to make a big splash. If he wants to, if he can.
And John Marks made a great point yesterday. We might be saying they got to make change, because we've been living it. Mike Gansey's been here for 5 minutes. He goes, well, I probably was told I got 2 to 3 years to try to fix this. He's not fixing it today.
See that? Yeah,
and that sucks.
It sucks
because you might have to live another season of it.
I didn't say. Can I? And I know that it's just listening. He didn't strike me as a man of urgency. But it might just be his tone.
Yeah,
It may just be his tone. It may just be his. It may be his mannerism.
Yeah, you know what that is. That's a good question, because I didn't take away that he was in any kind of hurry or the opposite either. I just kind of took away it as just vanilla.
Maybe he knows that the NBA Finals are still going on. He's like, I can't do anything right now anyway.
And by the way, a hurry may be exactly what, in the long run, I don't want him to do.
Right.
But
you don't want to like band-aid it up. Yeah.
But yesterday, I was sort of looking for the hurry.
I think that, and that's where, when we're working from this, we're working as a fan base, as you pointed out. Like, we're working from a fan base. We've been mired in this.
Oh, yeah.
We've been mired in it. I asked Mike Gansey afterwards, like, hey, fast forward a year from now, what's success to you? Like, what is success? And he's like, it's not just the playoffs. I'm like, well, yeah, I know. Yeah. We know what it is. It's the Eastern Conference Finals, friend.
I appreciate him saying that they're not close. He said, we got something in the second round.
He's like, that's harsh, but we're not close. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I needed here. So that's where I think when you say like, it's no sense of urgency, when you hear something like that, you're like, oh, does he like think we can't get there? I think first you have to recognize the problem, and then you have to go about addressing it. Him being honest and saying, we're not close. This team, it looked like it. You had 21 games of Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Paul George in an 82-game season. You're 3 guys, the only team that has 40 million plus tied up, right, in 3 different players. And they won. They played 21 games together. I thought he was really telling him when he was talking about the success that they saw with Joel Embiid. He said, it started out early, that, it was some bumps in the road. And then they had a winning record with Joel Embiid that lets you everything you need to know.
But then he can't play for a 7-game series without getting hurt.
Dan Gelston from the AP was just like, you cannot rely on this guy. Yeah. What do you do? And he's just like,
we got to come up with a plan.
Right.
And I've heard that from 12
and it's
different
like,
people.
and that's for like, as a Philadelphia fan base, I think he recognizes that. But again, he's not going to have answers on day one. But we're all sitting there going like, dude, I can't hear that again.
No.
But he doesn't know that because he just got here.
He's been here for 5 minutes.
So we got to ask him that again in a month.
By the way,
then he'll realize we need
something that just struck me. I'm very concerned about. Extremely. By the way, I was JCB.
The amount of hair product that's going to go in that front office.
I was JC because I missed the Charles Barkley thing. I thought he was. I thought he was
the whole about this.
So my bad.
Yeah, about this.
Cleveland Browns fan. Daryl Morey was a Cleveland Browns fan.
I was going to bring that up earlier.
That's back-to-back Pobos that are Cleveland Browns fans. You know how we always say, I wouldn't hire that guy. He played for the Browns. He coached for the Browns.
Bill Belichick coached for the Browns.
Yeah. But are fans bad too?
LeBron James is a Browns fan. Isn't
he changes his mind every
He's
other.
A Cowboys fan.
He changes his mind. It's whoever's winning.
Cowboys, Rams.
The Guardians at the time Indians were in the World Series.
Been a Browns
he's wearing a Cleveland hat.
He's a Cowboys fan.
But he's never been a Browns fan.
No.
Yeah, so he's smart.
Well, I don't blame him for that.
All right.
Did you know that Gansey was second to him in Mr. Basketball voting?
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Can you imagine?
That's fantastic.
And his mom didn't get the a Hummer when he was in high school as the gift, the car gift.
How do you know?
I don't think Mrs.
The guy
Gansey got one.
he was an All-American.
Yeah, I don't think
Maybe
she got
he was. Maybe he did.
I don't know.
No,
Maybe
I think
she got
Sports Illustrated would have found
Maybe
it.
she got a Camry.
I don't think Sports Illustrated was doing a lot of Mike Gansey work.
That's what I'm
Guys are
saying.
sleeping on Gansey. He was like a Player of the Year nominee.
Well, he's now the president of basketball
There we
operations
go.
for the Sixers. Amy,
Yes,
other
sir.
topic that we're getting into today. We'll talk more Phillies as the show goes on. We have you till 10
Sanchez,
o'clock.
really good.
Very good. No, he sucks now because he's giving up
That's
runs.
right. Sorry.
How dare he? The news that took the world by storm from sports standpoint yesterday, Brendan Sorsby.
It was great. So we were all over there
Wow.
at Camden, and everybody's just passing. Did you see that this is like we're in the middle of Sixer land, and everybody's passing the news around that.
So if you're just
don't
tuning
understand.
in, Brendan Sorsby, quarterback of Texas Tech, originally Cincinnati, originally Indiana. Those two stops before Texas Tech, he was also gambling on those two teams. He was a quarterback with Indiana. He was betting on Indiana. He was a quarterback at Cincinnati. He was betting on Cincinnati. He gets caught. He's at Texas Tech. And the judge of Lubbock County, Texas, which is the home of Texas Tech, says, he's good. He can play.
fine.
And so Brendan Sorsby will be the quarterback for Texas Tech this year, except for the first two games because he's suspended for the first two games of the season when they play the School of the Blind and the School of the Poor.
Yeah, because the 2-game suspension is definitely he learned his lesson.
Yeah, Texas
What
Tech
school?
The School of the Blind and the School of the Poor.
Okay,
Cincinnati will win, or Texas Tech will win 60-0 in both those games, regardless of who the quarterback is. Sorsby
School of the Blind's looking good this year, though.
is considered
They won that
a
winning
top
team.
prospect. One draft analyst said
Can you
that.
imagine drafting this guy?
Well, so that's our question. All right, Rob Rang, NFL draft analyst, said if he was in this past draft without everything that went on, he actually could have rivaled Mendoza to be the number one overall pick. He compares him to a comp between Baker Mayfield and Jackson Dart, two very good quarterbacks in the NFL. If the Eagles needed a quarterback, we're not doing the they should draft a quarterback show. If they needed a quarterback, let's just in make-believe land, they needed a quarterback, would this guy even be considered for you?
No. What kind of franchise would...
There's franchises.
Well, yes, the Browns called and said, sure, come on over. We got all kinds of stuff
I saw
here.
people guessing on YouTube. Somebody said
where-
Pittsburgh.
Vegas.
Vegas.
Be perfect.
Well,
Because
they
obviously
already
be
got
right
Mendoza.
there. Well, they don't need... But this guy, that's right in his wheelhouse. He has all the sports books right there.
That's true.
I wouldn't touch this guy with a 10-foot pole if I was in charge of a franchise.
But you know that people look away from stuff all the time.
This is a tough one to look at. Like, how do you look away
How
from
do you look
this?
away from domestic violence?
could destroy-
I don't look away from any of those
Teams
things.
do it.
No,
Teams
but he
look
could
away from
destroy-
domestic violence. I got Myles Garrett was pulled over 17 times.
Because domestic violence can't
He speeds a lot.
isn't going to tear potentially. You could get your team. It affects every guy in the locker room. The domestic violence thing is speaking to your character, your personal life, takes you off the field. The gambling on your team can affect the entire team. There's a difference.
Well, and somebody said on Twitter earlier,
Both
Quentin,
I would be
Quentin
interested-
Birchfield, which is a great name, he chimes in earlier going, what if he owes guys money?
yeah.
I mean, I don't remember having
You could-
$90,000 as a college student. I get
could
NIL deals and everything.
You could never look at a result that he was a part of.
Ever.
Or a throw that he made, or a missed throw, or a botched handoff. To me, it would be in the back of my mind every single time the ball snapped.
Look at what we're doing with Terry Rozier. We're finding every
Oh, it's my
turnover.
favorite.
Like
Chauncey
every turn.
too.
Look at this turnover 7 years ago. Do you think he had money on it?
I'm going to tell you right now. I am shocked, and
I
I'm
don't
not
know
saying,
that this is going to hold up.
I'm not saying it happened. I'm not. So repeat. I'm not saying this happened, but I'm shocked it was never brought up. That I was shocked that people didn't try to spin that into, well, AJ was quitting on routes. In today's day and age,
I'm sure
people
somebody-
believe in all kinds of conspiracies.
I'm sure somebody did.
We
Well,
got
yeah,
those texts. Yeah.
Oh,
We did- oh,
we?
you did?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm sure
I
we did.
See, Connor, you have to deal with you go through it.
Yeah.
You have to sift through the laundry bin.
I see every take there is out there.
Well, nowadays, because of their...
You have half
That's
of
been
them,
out
though,
there.
Connor.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
good ones.
Yeah, I don't know that this injunction's going to hold up.
I don't think it's going to hold up either.
I hope not, because this sets a
I just would
horrible
imagine.
precedent.
I just can't imagine. Again, it was mind blowing to me. There is the all time hits leader in Major League Baseball that's not in the Hall of Fame because of this very thing. This is not a gray area. This is very black and white. The precedent has been.
Why are you
set.
looking at me with the gray?
Sorry, friend. You know what I mean? I'm just like, when it came out, it was so stunning. I'm telling you, we were all just standing around waiting for the next press conference, and we all stared like, is this happening? this is not real.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Well,
I had to double check. I was like, that's not real. That's
because
fake.
the judge said, you are hereby eligible to play.
He said, go
Raiders.
Go Red Raiders.
That's what he said when he hit the gavel.
Gavel. Yeah,
gavel. Great work by you. He was like,
well done.
Go Red Raiders. Go Red Raiders.
It's wild to me.
Oh, it's horrible.
I cannot imagine a franchise in the NFL. I think Goodell would not allow that.
Hey, Cowboys might be looking for a quarterback soon.
Why?
Come on, he screams Cowboys.
No, it's just
they got a much better quarterback than that.
I know.
He's the idea. Of
you'd have to go somewhere like
Did you
can
see him go to
hide him.
Dallas? Jared's like, that's all right, I bet too. All right, coming up next.
I gamble every day.
Amy Fadool of NBC Sports Philadelphia here. I read an article on said website, Amy. It made my brain think.
Your brain think?
Maybe, just maybe, this time we won't have the every other year issue with the Eagles. It's Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. This is Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic.
8:32 here on Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic. It is a Tuesday with Amy Fadool in studio with us. Check the Davis Honda text line coming up here in a moment. We'll also get to a phone call that I really want to get to it because we just need to get all the records straight here when it comes to this gambling discussion with Brendan Sorsby. But real quick, so I read an article on NBC Sports Philadelphia this morning from the great Dave Zangaro, who you always tell we steal his content, but I always
tell him and I thank him for it.
Yes, he always gives us a couple segments to talk every single day. He wrote an article on Josh Grizzard.
Yes.
The new quarterbacks coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, who did apply for the OC job, did not get it. And one of the questions that Dave asked him was, well, why would you still take this job? You got not passed over because you weren't a part of the organization, but you were not hired for what you originally applied for. And then the guy that got the job that you applied for, you said, yeah, sure, I'll be a part of your staff. And so they talked about learning with Sean. And by the way, Grizzard's 35. Like, it's not like he's 50 and some young pup.
Been in the coaching ranks for 15 years or something.
Like, was last year his only year as the OC?
It was his only year.
Yeah, so it says. All right. And maybe he's going, all right, let me learn a little bit. So it made me think. If Mannion does well, we know what's going to happen. He'll probably get hired somewhere else.
Or,
well, if they win a playoff game, they won't do that.
That's the truth.
But if Mannion does well and the Eagles have success in the playoffs and Nick Sirianni is still the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is what you're getting at.
Right.
And Mannion leaves, not bad to have Grizzard on your staff right now.
Not at all.
Guy that has play calling experience. By the way, last year wasn't his fault. Mike Evans was hurt every other game. Chris Godwin was hurt most of the season. Bucky Irving disappeared.
And honestly, I mean, they still were able to put up points. I think that you would look at everything that they did and think, oh, that's not actually the worst job.
I was kind of shocked when he got fired.
No,
I was like, what did he do?
He didn't do that bad.
What did he do wrong? Emeka Egbuka, I know that everybody was excited about him, but
I think somebody
right away
it's one of those
incredible.
cases of like someone has to take the fall for not living up to expectations because they really thought they were going to challenge for the NFC.
Yeah, and we all thought that Bowles was actually going to get fired, and he was like, nah, I'm still here. Which
good Temple Al didn't get fired.
Means you fire other people.
So
it's funny you mentioned that because I would talk to Dave on, I think I did Bird's Huddle with him the day after they hired Grizzard, or maybe the day of, can't remember. It was right around that same time. And he brought that same point up. Like, the Eagles have had these OCs, DCs, whatever, taken from them because they've had success. And they've not had a backup plan. You could see for every year that they had a good one, they had the backup plan of like, hey, I'll just take this guy in-house, and he's never done this before, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, Kevin Patullo. And they were not fine.
Right, they were not.
Yes. So I think it was an interesting move. One, I think they recognized that they really like Grizzard and see what he was able to do down in Tampa Bay and in other stops. In other roles that he's had before that, not an OC, but obviously in different offensive coaching roles that he's had. I think it's important to recognize that talent. I think it's something that's key. If you're building a team, building a coaching staff, you obviously have to recognize that not necessarily like a hierarchy of, all right, well, if I'm gone, this guy's there. But certainly this guy is a fully capable person to run the offense in case I'm gone, or in case we need it, or in case I can rely on him because I see him as an offensive coordinator as well.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have that kind of collective kind of groupthink or whatever.
And you mentioned that he's done it before. Like Fadool, well, he's been here. Like, remember Sirianni? He's been here. He's been talking to the guys.
The two hires were like, well, he's here. The word was just like, oh, he's been here. Okay, great.
That means squat.
It was just like a person roaming around here at one ballot, like, oh, you've been here before. Come on in. You can host a show. That's not how that works.
No.
That's how Salchunas got a job.
That's how people think they can do it.
They think they just keep showing up. Like, yeah, you actually have to have some ideas.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Jack in Wilmington. This is going to be an interesting call. What's up, Jack?
What's up, Jack?
Hello. How's everyone doing this morning?
Good, Jack.
How are you?
I'm doing good. I usually listen on my way into work, and I've been wanting to call in and talk about Keaton Anthony, and I felt like the whole betting thing was a good time because there already is someone in one of our major sports organizations here in Philadelphia who was implied in a betting scandal in college and actually might be the right-handed bat that the Phillies need. Now, I don't know if he'll get called up this year. He's only played in a couple of games. He's coming back from a broken foot, but I feel like there's levels to mistakes that people make, and I don't know if gambling is necessarily one that we should write somebody off about.
Games that you're involved in?
So this is
two stops.
So hold on one second.
Both places.
Keaton Anthony was pinched for betting on professional sports as a college student before it was legalized. And if you guys remember,
and he wasn't involved in those games.
A couple of months ago, they changed the rule where college athletes can bet on all sports except for the game that they play in, which we all said, don't do that.
Terrible idea.
It's stupid. It's stupid.
But here's what's interesting, Jack, to your point. Keaton Anthony bet on professional sports. We don't know which one. What if he did bet on professional baseball that he was one day going to be a part of?
But if you're not betting on a game you're involved in, I have much more grace. I have much more grace for a college kid that does that.
Right,
betting on the Phillies when he's had nothing to do with the Phillies or nothing to do with the Dodgers.
Yeah, Sorsby bet on the teams he was
on the teams.
With,
he had insider information. It's totally different.
Well, that's fair. Besides all of that, do you think Keaton Anthony is potential to be on the roster either this year or at some point?
So here's what's going to be interesting, Jack, and we thank you for the call,
thank you,
man.
buddy.
They're trying to put him in the outfield.
Yes.
He is a first baseman.
I always love when we have these. Hey.
He is a first baseman.
Why do we have so many of these?
And he will not
We're not the only ones.
He will not be playing first base anytime soon because there's this guy named Bryce Harper there. His other position is DH. He's not going to be playing DH anytime soon.
Does he play hard at all times?
Yeah, Bryce Harper lollygags all the time.
That. Yeah, well, it happens quite often. We talk about
it. They're going to try him out in the outfield. It would be best for the Phillies to not just bring him up for his bat and put him in a position where he's not going to be good at, because didn't they already do that this year?
Yeah, they tried that.
And who was that guy?
His name was Otto Kemp.
And where's he at now?
Currently not with the Phillies.
Yeah.
Go back, Scott Kingery.
Yeah, Scott Kingery. They fell in love with the Ben Zobrist crap.
But
one guy could play 6 positions well, so they're like, let's try to make somebody else do it.
Poor Scott Kingery, man.
I still stand by the belief. I never bought into the Chase Utley hype. There was a lot of people that were saying he was the next Chase Utley.
I don't know if I was buying into that, but I imagine he could play baseball.
How about this? I was buying into some of the hype as far as reading it.
Yeah,
getting enthused about
top reporters are saying, I didn't buy into it, but I believe that if he just came up and played second base, let him get comfortable with the big league level first before you play him in center field where he has no arm, or third base where he has no arm, or shortstop where he doesn't have the range to his right and then the throw to first base.
Was it Ben Zobrist they were trying to make him into?
It was the idea that you have this guy that's a phenomenal athlete and he can play all over. There's 6 of those guys. You know what I mean?
That was the time. Zobrist was really making a name for himself.
Too, and you were
the jack of all trades. He's the Swiss Army knife.
He could really play multiple positions.
And that's tough. Let him be a second baseman and let him play 140 games. Let him be penciled in at the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, like what they're doing with Justin Crawford now.
Well, now let them play more, though, still. Let them play every night.
Yeah.
You know, that would be the great thing to do with these young players. Not just say it, let them play it.
Yeah, so the Keaton Anthony, bottom line is that
And he's still a little away.
different situation.
He's in single A right now.
Correct. He's a little away.
Different situation. The Keaton Anthony was betting
and I
on
have no problem
professional
with that.
sports.
I mean, I do have a problem with it.
It's a problem because it was
But-
illegal and he knew it was illegal.
Correct.
And when you're a college athlete, you have to sign things that say you will not do this. There's things you sign. All kinds of rules.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of rules.
I think it's so stupid, though, letting college athletes bet on.
I don't know why they changed that.
Because you
rule.
lose money. You lose money.
I'm a
then
college
you
football
could be
player and I
shut
can
down.
bet on college football. Like, that's wild. It's wild.
By the way, he is a AAA right now. Yeah, he's a level away.
He's 24. Yeah, he's like
Keaton Anthony?
Yes.
yeah.
Well, that's off on mine,
I
too.
don't think he's 24. I think he's older than that.
Is he 20? There's one guy
he's
that's 24. One guy's 25.
He's 25.
Wow.
He's 24. Gabriel Rincones is 25.
Rincones.
You're right.
And these are the
he's
next.
moved up.
you know,
He
these
was
are the
at.
next
He
guys.
started at Clearwater and he's played the last five.
And what does it say?
5 games.
And
5 games at AAA.
Ask AI what it tells you if you haven't.
He's 25.
If a prospect hasn't made the major leagues by 25.
I'll do that for you during the break.
Ask them what they tell you about the prospect's chances of. It's very rare.
All right, coming up next, we got some more Eagles discussion because today's the day of mandatory minicamp. Amy, I know you're fired up.
Let's go.
Real
You
football.
got Birds Huddle today?
Real football.
I do
starts
have Birds
today.
Huddle.
There you
well,
go.
that's a must watch.
I like it during minicamp.
Nick
Yeah,
Sirianni
actual
speaks
stuff.
at 12:30. People will show up. We'll go around the room. What is the number one thing you want to eventually see or hear from day one of mandatory minicamp now that all the drama is over? It's Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Now back to Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
It is 8:48 here on Kincaid and Sal Tunis, 97.5 The Fanatic. Day one of mandatory minicamp for the Philadelphia Eagles. So you better be there or you're out. Well, not really, depending on how good you are. Mandatory minicamp begins today. You know, everybody will be there for the most part, we think. And there's no A.J. Brown talk, which is great. It's over. Nick Sirianni speaks today at 12:30. Is there anything, John Kincaid, to start with you, that come the end of the day today, I don't know if Nick Sirianni speaks before or after practice.
Speaks at 12:30. I believe it is.
So I don't know if that's
that'll
before
be
or
before.
after.
I think it's, well, no, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, by the
Hold
end of the
on, I
day,
got it.
when
Maybe
you're sipping on a cocktail, sitting on your
I'm going to, yeah, we're going to.
Yes,
Hey,
it's
we're going
before.
to, no, we're going
Sirianni,
to Seafood
12:30.
Kitchen tonight.
1 o'clock practice begins.
Okay,
All right.
so it's before.
So-
we're going to Seafood Kitchen tonight, so I will be sipping on a cocktail
enjoy.
tonight.
So after all that, what is something that you hope to see or hear?
I want to know, Nick, we taught when the last offense came in, we heard that when Kellen Moore came in, we heard that it was going to be a melding, a blending of your offense with Kellen Moore's offense. Is this going to be a melding of the offense of what you want to do and what Sean Mannion wants to do? And if it is, what does that mean?
Well, you know the answer is yes. Sean
What
Mannion
does it-
himself said it a couple of
But
weeks
what
ago.
does it mean?
We're going to have the good things that have
No,
worked, and
no,
we're going to
no.
bring in
What-
Sean's concepts.
What does
too.
it mean?
That's what it means.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
what
but
it means.
that's not an answer. What
We've
does
had
it mean?
we've had a lot of success here in Philadelphia
So
with
does
what
it-
we've done, and we're going to
It means
try to
we're gonna
build
blend
off
it.
that. Yeah,
We're going to put it all in a blender.
yeah.
Mix it up.
I think you're going to be disappointed.
Make an offensive
Well, I
smoothie.
know I'm going to be disappointed with the Nick Sirianni press conference.
When was the last time you were at a press conference you weren't disappointed?
Yeah,
I'm going
seriously.
into I'm going
God.
into no. There's some press conferences
Besides
that I
Don
think are
Mattingly.
more. I think there's some that are better executed. Well, Don Mattingly's compared to Sleepy
That's because
Robs.
he's a Hall of Famer.
I got much
Blah, blah,
better.
blah.
So
You guys know they all call him Donnie?
the old
Oh,
two
Donnie Baseball.
I know, but you call your manager Donnie. That's funny to me.
Well, they call Thompson Topper.
but everybody around baseball calls him Donnie Baseball, so it's sort of like
Everybody's
that
got
whole,
pictures
I know
of
what his
him,
nickname was when he
you know,
played, but
signed-
in the
everybody's
Marlins,
got
they
a
didn't
signed
call him
autograph,
Donnie.
by the way.
Yeah.
Donnie Baseball must have signed the most autographs.
Oh, yeah,
'cause the amount of
absolutely.
people that, I have a signed picture of him. How many of those did he sign?
Well,
There's
there's
a lot of people. It's like the people that played against Mike Trout and Joe Flacco.
And just think, there's some people who, like on the Phillies, won't even sign an autograph. So it's amazing.
Amy, what is something by the end of the day when you're prepping for Bird's Huddle that you hope to have a segment on?
We will have a segment on, hey, how confident are you that you have enough around Jalen Hurts to run this offense the way that it's supposed to be? It's an A.J. Brown question without asking the A.J. Brown question. Because the question's still going to be there no matter what. There's a lot of expectations, and we talked about it last week. I know we talked about it with Barrett on here, and we've talked about it before. It's not a one-to-one replacement with Mekhi Lemon and A.J. Brown. I feel like that's what people need to wrap their heads around. You want it to be. He looks, hey, it's a bigger receiver. Can he go up and do the same things? No, that's a lot to put on a guy that's his first year in the league. But I want to know, what do you envision as far as how this offense with the wide receivers looking? Devontae Smith is a tremendous wide receiver. We know that. He's also had the benefit of having another one wide receiver out there.
Yeah.
You can let him run a little bit freer because you had to put a little bit more defensive, front on A.J. Brown. You had to bracket him sometimes. Sometimes you had to have a little bit of a double as far as having someone cover over the top. So Devontae maybe was able to roam a little bit freer. So it'll be interesting to me to see what their plan is with that wide receiving core because they have a lot of humans. I just need to know if they're going to be able to get the same production.
Connor, I'll get yours in a second because I know mine's going to be quick because I know it's not going to happen. I'm not really going to get anything from a football standpoint. Right?
No.
I could hear that Jalen threw 40 for 40, 7 touchdowns, and I'll be like, all right. I can also hear he threw 0 for 40, threw 5 picks, and I go, all right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to count incompletions?
No, that's somebody else's job around here.
Okay.
I would like, in some way, a reporter to ask a question based off of some of the things A.J. Brown said in his podcast with Maria Taylor. You guys know that I was really adamant that I hated their ignorance of being Super Bowl champs. Oh, it's banner night? I have no idea. What did A.J. Brown say that was, true? That the Eagles allowed to be a problem? Because it became a problem. The A.J. Brown became a problem for the Philadelphia Eagles last year. Everyone could spin it any way they want about how he was a good teammate. There were problems because of A.J. Brown. And we talk about the Eagles' culture all the time. I don't know exactly how they would word it, the reporter, but there are some things from what A.J. Brown said in that podcast that I would like to somehow it be addressed by Nick Sirianni. He won't say anything A.J. Brown straight up because they'll be like, A.J. Brown's not here anymore. We wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, so I think you have to ask it just like that. You have to leave his name out of it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's not going to get the answer.
I don't know if anyone's
not here anymore.
Well,
you think it's going to be he's not here anymore?
Well, because it's AJ said this. Well, he's not here anymore. Okay,
right.
Yeah, but the underlying. So you have to ask those questions without, you don't want to. It's like when you do an interview, you don't ever want to ask yes or no questions because you're always going to get a yes or no answer. Yeah. So you have to get a little. How do you do this? Why do you do this? You know what I mean? That's a little journalism, as John could tell you. So I think you have to ask those questions, just like you said it. Pick whatever statement you want to, have him answer, whether it's about the offense, whether it's about the discourse of how the whole relationship works. But you can't say his name because otherwise he'll be like, well, he doesn't.
Look, I want to know who's going to be the new leader, right? A.J. Brown spoke to the media and all this kind of who's that next guy? Connor, what do you want to, at the end of the day, say, all right, I got this?
Yeah, besides asking if Jalen Hurts is his number one question mark, because we know that gets a lot of reaction.
There you go.
I'd like to know if your offensive line could walk and maybe even jog right now.
Yeah, how healthy are they?
I would like to know an update on the health of a lot of those guys because I think healthy, they're still talent-wise one of the best units in the NFL, but clearly that's been a major issue. And they did a lot of stuff this offseason. So as you get into actual full team activities, I think it'd be fair to be like, is Landon Dickerson good? Is Cam Jurgens good? What do we have going on?
I can tell you, I think I already know the answer, what you're going to get. I'll predict it to you that you're going to get the answer is that both gentlemen are progressing well, and we're expecting big things of them this year.
They came into camp feeling better than they did at the end of last year.
I think that's what you're going to get. Some version of that is what you're going to get, Connor.
Hey, it's better than they're not really ready right now, but we'll see.
I think you're going to get some version of that.
Okay, I take that.
And I think they could be lying.
Do you think he'll be asked about the prove it type of year for Jalen Hurts?
He probably should be.
He's going to say, I don't get into contracts.
Yes, he will.
I don't get into contracts.
And
That's
that'll be
not
a
my
very
Or
department.
the answer is it's always a prove it year when you're trying to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that could be. And by the way, I don't think that's a terrible answer.
It's not. That's what I would give.
That's
what I would have said.
I think I would approve. I would approve of Nick giving that answer.
Did you bring in Andy Dalton to push Jalen Hurts? Quarterback competition. All right, coming up next.
Red Rock.
We get more insight on the new president of basketball operations for the Sixers. That's not how you say it, Amy.
That's not right.
A man who covered Mike Gansey for a long time in Cleveland. Is Gansey the right man for the job in Philly? He loves his Cleveland ties. I mean, he's from there. Loves them. Is he ready for Philly?
Him and Drew Carey.
We'll get some insight on that next here on The Fanatic.